Hello everyone. If you've been keeping an eye on the headlines or scrolling social media, you've probably noticed the growing concern about 2025. Talk is everywhere. Political turmoil, mass deportations, martial law, civil conflict, even rumors of a possible new pandemic or drone-based surveillance that could lock down entire regions. Naturally, you might wonder, what if the worst happens? Let's figure it out together. I'm not here to spread panic or push a doom and gloom perspective. My goal is to show you that with some planning and clear thinking, you can handle a wide range of emergencies. Whether it's protests spiraling out of control, a martial law clampdown tied to new laws, mass deportations, or a sudden run on grocery stores over a rumored virus outbreak, the key is having a practical strategy to protect yourself and the people you care about. Stay tuned, because we'll dive into everything from building a strong mental approach to reinforcing your home, from packing an emergency kit to organizing an evacuation plan if roads get blocked by checkpoints or monitored by drones. You'll discover how to stay in contact when cell towers are overloaded and how to manage essentials like food, water, and medication. By the end, you'll feel more confident about how to face the unexpected. And while you're here, please hit subscribe, ring the notification bell, and check out the tagged products in this video for helpful gear recommendations. Let's jump in. I'd like to start by outlining a few scenarios that have people concerned about 2025. Some believe civil conflict could ignite if political tensions boil over, while others anticipate a government-imposed martial law that might involve widespread deportations or forced relocations. Meanwhile, rumors of a new pandemic loom large, suggesting the possibility of renewed lockdowns or tighter quarantines. Adding another layer to the mix is the possibility that drone technology will play a heavier role in surveillance, patrolling streets, monitoring borders, and fueling deeper mistrust between communities and authorities. If even a small portion of these fears play out, society could face severe disruption. Peaceful demonstrations can morph into violent clashes if people feel trapped, and a rumored pandemic could spark instant panic buying, emptying store shelves. A crackdown on undocumented individuals could deepen fear and resentment in both urban and rural neighborhoods. Then there's the rapid growth of drone technology. Some fear it may evolve from simple overhead surveillance into direct crowd control or targeted action, especially if media outlets amplify speculation. The goal isn't to give in to paranoia, but to plan wisely for a spectrum of issues. Whether you're worried about martial law, the prospect of civil unrest, drone crackdowns, or potential pandemics, it helps to have a blueprint in place. That way, if none of these events ever materialize, you'll still have gained valuable security and peace of mind. And if a crisis does arise, you'll be more prepared than most to handle it. Before we get into the nuts and bolts of food storage or barricading doors, let's talk about mindset. In any emergency situation, be it a natural disaster, political upheaval, or a rumored pandemic, your mental state is your primary tool for survival. How well you cope psychologically often dictates how effectively you can put a plan into action. One fundamental principle is to stay informed but avoid spiraling into panic. Look to credible news outlets, track official announcements from your local government, but also verify what you hear. There's going to be a lot of misinformation if tensions ramp up. Social media can be helpful for real-time updates, but it also amplifies rumors. Pace yourself by setting aside specific times to check the news so you're not glued to fear-mongering headlines all day. Developing a routine of stress relief is also crucial. This might mean daily exercise, running, yoga, or brisk walks, maybe mindfulness or meditation, or even journaling to let off steam. Building small habits that help manage anxiety day to day ensures that if trouble does come, you're not already operating from a place of overwhelm. Visualizing possible scenarios is another tool for sharpening your mental preparedness. Picture how you'd respond if armed drones started patrolling the sky at curfew, or if a neighbor's family faced deportation and needed immediate help. Having a mental script reduces the chance of freezing up. Low-stakes rehearsal can prepare your mind for high-stakes reality. Think of it as training a muscle. The more you do it, the quicker and more confidently you'll respond when it matters. Let's shift gears to the concept of understanding where you live. A well-prepared plan in a busy city might look entirely different from one in a secluded rural setting. Urban areas can be powder kegs for mass demonstrations or riots if tensions flare over new laws, deportations, or a government-ordered lockdown. Cities also boast more hospitals and fire stations, but these resources can be overwhelmed fast by high population density. Plus, you might deal with blocked roads, transit shutdowns, or drone surveillance overhead monitoring major streets. In rural areas, you might enjoy relative isolation from immediate protests or uprisings, but when supply lines are disrupted, it could be a long drive to the nearest grocery store or medical facility. Mail and deliveries could slow down or cease altogether if highways or shipping routes are deemed unsafe or get shut down at checkpoints. On the other hand, you could set up a rain barrel or a modest garden in your backyard, which may not be so easy in a cramped apartment complex in the city. To prepare effectively, it's wise to map out your surroundings. Identify your local stores, pharmacies, water sources, and even lesser-known spots like small hardware shops or specialized grocery outlets. Think through how you'd handle blocked highways, how you might negotiate or bypass drones if they're scanning traffic on the main freeway, and whether alternate back roads or secondary routes are options. That physical map or mental picture of your area will prove invaluable if your usual routines get disrupted. Also, note the vibe of your neighborhood. Do your neighbors look out for each other, or do they keep to themselves? Even a loose bond with a few neighbors can be a game changer if things get tense. You might be wondering how to pull all this together into an actual plan. The simple truth is that readiness isn't a one-shot deal. It's about gradually acquiring knowledge, resources, and a calm perspective. Decide first if you lean more toward bugging in, which means fortifying your home, or bugging out, which means having an exit strategy. Create a timeline for yourself, setting small goals along the way. For example, in the next 2 weeks, you aim to build up a minimum 2-week supply of food and water at home. Next month, you invest in some basic home security updates like reinforced door frames or a battery-backed alarm system. You might also set aside time to acquire new skills, such as learning basic first aid or practicing shortwave radio operation in case cell coverage disappears. If you live with others, share the plan so that it's not all on one person's shoulders. Assign tasks. Let someone else handle the first aid kit and prescription refills while you focus on securing alternative communication methods or setting up a small indoor garden. Document this plan in a binder or notebook you can easily grab if you have to relocate quickly. Phone batteries die, electronics fail, so having it written down can save critical minutes in an emergency. Remember, this plan is a living document. If rumors start swirling about a new pandemic wave, or if your region is suddenly under drone surveillance for curfew enforcement, update your plan. Rotate your stock of supplies regularly. Don't let water containers gather dust for years, or let your canned goods expire. Check the expiration dates, use them before they go bad, and replenish as you go. Preparedness is an ongoing habit, not a one-time checklist. No matter what potential chaos is brewing, deportation raids, a second pandemic wave, or drone-enforced curfews, staying in the information loop is vital. You need a reliable way to reach family, friends, or community members, as well as a method for getting credible updates from the outside world. Cell phones are the go-to, but we've all seen how networks can get overloaded when a crisis hits. That's where backup options like handheld FRS or GMRS radios come in. They're great for short-range communication when cell towers are jammed. If you're serious about broader, longer-range contact, consider getting a ham radio license. Those signals can reach far and wide, even if local infrastructure goes down. And don't underestimate a simple battery-powered or hand-crank radio. It can keep you tuned in to emergency broadcasts, government announcements, and essential news bulletins. To keep information private, some families or communities develop simple code words. A single phrase can convey, "Don't come here, it's dangerous," or "Meet at the secondary location," without raising suspicion if someone's listening in. Only share these codes with people you trust completely. Battery power is another factor. Stock up on external battery packs, solar chargers, or small generators if you can. If you're pulling information from the internet, remember it can vanish in a heartbeat. Save important web pages offline or print them out. During high-tension events, misinformation will be everywhere. Try to confirm the news you hear through multiple sources. Avoid letting panic tweets or unchecked social media rumors dictate your next move. Staying calm and informed beats reacting to every bit of gossip that crosses your screen. Your home can be your fortress if social unrest erupts over a harsh new policy, if drones start patrolling neighborhoods, or if a wave of violence sweeps through in reaction to potential deportations. But fortifying a home is more than nailing boards over windows. Let's break down some easy but effective measures. Reinforce your doors and windows first. Many doors aren't as sturdy as they appear. Installing stronger deadbolts, replacing short screws with longer ones in the hinges, and considering security film on windows can deter quick break-ins. Outdoor lighting is your friend. Motion-activated lights around entrances can discourage anyone from lurking after dark. That being said, keep indoor lighting more discreet if you think drone surveillance is active. You might use blackout curtains so you're not advertising exactly where you are at night. Maintain a normal appearance on the outside. Overboarding your windows can draw unwanted attention. It signals you might be hoarding supplies. Instead, smart but subtle reinforcement is key. Inside, consider creating a safe room or a lockable interior space that gives you time to call for help or plan an exit if intruders do make it inside. Set up simple alarms or noisemakers on doors or gates, even something as basic as a tripwire that jingles bells or empties a can of marbles onto the floor. Securing valuables discreetly is also wise. Don't stash everything in one obviously locked safe. Spread out critical supplies in less expected places so you're not completely wiped out if someone does break in and grabs what's in plain sight. Anything you can do to avoid being the easiest target on the block can serve you well when tensions are high. Sometimes you could even reach a point where home is no longer viable. Maybe a rumored pandemic wave escalates into real lockdowns, or mass deportation sweeps turn your neighborhood into a zone of raids and protests. If martial law is declared or if drones begin patrolling your block, you might decide the best move is to relocate quickly. That's where both a solid go bag and a smart evacuation plan come into play. It's all about being able to get on the road at a moment's notice, while also knowing where you'll go and how you'll get there. Let's start with your go bag. Pick a sturdy, comfortable backpack you can carry for long stretches. Gather essential documents like IDs, insurance paperwork, and legal records, and seal them in waterproof pouches. If you or your family members might face extra scrutiny at checkpoints, you'll want any proof of residency, citizenship, or special status on hand. Next, water is critical. Carry at least a liter per person to start off, plus purification tablets or a small portable filter so you can replenish from streams or public water fountains if you have to. Add lightweight, calorie-dense foods, energy bars, dried fruits, jerky, or freeze-dried meals. A compact camping stove or at least a metal cup can let you boil water or heat quick meals if you're forced to camp out. Pack weather-appropriate clothing. If it's cold in your region, thermal layers or a mylar blanket can save your life. If it's wet or tropical, ponchos and extra socks are a must. A basic first aid kit should include not only bandages, antiseptic wipes, and painkillers, but also prescriptions if you rely on ongoing medication. A small multi-tool, flashlight, extra batteries, a way to start a fire, and some cash and small bills are worth their weight in gold. Tuck in a physical map of your region in case your phone dies or signals get jammed. Once that bag is ready, outline how you'd leave your area. Think of evacuation routes beyond the main highway. If there's drone surveillance or heavy police presence on major roads, you might need back roads or alternate paths. If you drive, keep your gas tank at least half full when tensions rise. If you rely on public transportation, realize it could be shut down without warning. Ideally, scout out multiple safe destinations in advance. Maybe you have relatives in a quieter part of the country, or a friend with a remote cabin. Ask them ahead of time if you can show up if things get bad. If you plan on public land or campsites, familiarize yourself with the area, how to get in, how to navigate. Sharing your travel plans with a trusted friend is also a good call, so someone knows to look for you if communication fails. Keep your go bag accessible in a closet near your front door or in your car's trunk. And if you do have pets, don't neglect their needs. Pack some of their food, vet records, and a carrier if necessary. Leaving in a rush is already stressful. Having your essentials organized and a clear path in mind can reduce the chaos and help you move faster than the crowd. That window of time could be the difference between a smooth getaway and getting stuck in gridlock or caught in the midst of unrest. When systems break down, whether from riots in the streets, quarantines from a new virus, or severe supply chain disruptions, sanitation can collapse quickly. You don't want to be contending with bacterial infections or diseases on top of political unrest. Start with the basics: soap, disinfectant, gloves, and hand sanitizer. Store these in places where you can easily grab them, and rotate any products that might expire. If water gets disrupted, you'll need a method to manage waste. Camping toilets, heavy-duty plastic bags, bleach, and duct tape can form a bare-bones setup. It's not glamorous, but it'll keep waste contained if your plumbing doesn't work. For general cleaning, keep some bleach or sanitizing wipes on hand. Just a small bottle of bleach can be diluted in water to disinfect surfaces or to purify water if absolutely necessary. Medical conditions requiring prescription medications make disruptions even riskier. If you have the option, talk to your doctor about a backup supply. Label them properly and store them in a cool, dry place. For common ailments, stock up on over-the-counter meds like ibuprofen, antihistamines, and cold remedies. And of course, a good first aid kit is a must. Gauze, bandages, alcohol wipes, a thermometer, and maybe even a tourniquet and hemostatic gauze if you anticipate serious injuries could be invaluable. Pay attention to mental health as well. Stress, fear, or prolonged isolation can wreak havoc. Whether you're holed up at home during a quarantine or on the move to avoid civil unrest, you or your loved ones might experience anxiety or depression. Routine check-ins help. Talk to each other, keep some lighthearted activities around, a book, a deck of cards, and if possible, maintain digital or phone contact with extended friends or family. If telehealth is available, it might be a lifeline for counseling or urgent medical advice when hospitals are overwhelmed. Never underestimate how fast stores can run out of essentials. We've seen panic buying happen for far less dramatic reasons than martial law or drone-enforced curfews. If the news starts rumbling about a pandemic spike, or if serious protests erupt, people rush to grab everything off the shelves in a matter of hours. The best way to avoid that frantic scramble is to already have enough food and water at home to last you at least a couple of weeks, ideally more. Focus on non-perishables like canned vegetables, canned meats, dried beans, rice, pasta, peanut butter, and freeze-dried meals if you can get them. Keep track of expiration dates. Use a permanent marker and note the month and year you bought them, so you can rotate them into your regular meals before they go bad, replacing them with fresh supplies. This rotation method ensures you're not just letting things sit and expire in a forgotten corner of the closet. Some people even set reminders on their phones or calendars to revisit their food stash every few months just to double-check all is in order. Water is even more important. Aim for at least 1 gallon per person per day for drinking, cooking, and basic hygiene. Store it in food-grade containers and change it out periodically. If you have the space, consider a rain barrel or large water storage tank to use for non-potable needs, like cleaning or gardening. Just remember, any water from an unsealed source should be purified or boiled before consumption. If boiling isn't possible, use filters or water purification tablets to make it safe. Don't forget, you can also store sports drinks or electrolyte powders to help stay hydrated under stress. You'll also want a backup cooking method. A small camping stove or propane grill can help you boil water or cook if electricity or gas service fails. Make sure you store extra fuel and always use them in a well-ventilated area. If you're an apartment dweller, you might opt for a portable butane stove on your balcony. It doesn't hurt to experiment with easy, shelf-stable recipes ahead of time. Simple spices can turn bland beans and rice into something more tolerable, and being able to cook a comforting dish can keep morale up when the rest of the world feels unsafe. Some folks even stock instant coffee or tea, because a warm, familiar beverage can be a small but powerful mood booster in high-stress times. Whenever there's talk about civil war, drone crackdowns, or mass deportations, the topic of self-defense inevitably comes up. Let's approach it realistically. You want to avoid violence if at all possible, but it's not always up to you. If protests turn into riots, looting spreads, or if people become hostile in search of dwindling resources, you'll want some means to protect yourself. Situational awareness is your first line of defense. Stay alert to what's happening around you, whether that's noticing a suspicious drone circling overhead, a crowd forming at the end of your street, or simply an uptick in local burglaries. If things look tense, adjusting your route or your timing can keep you out of harm's way altogether. In the home, consider motion sensor lighting or simple alarms that give you an early heads up if anyone's prowling around. Non-lethal tools, like pepper spray or a flashlight that can strobe and disorient an attacker, can be effective if they're legal in your area. Some folks consider acquiring a firearm, but that comes with responsibilities, thorough training, properly securing it, and understanding local laws that might shift under martial law. Always keep in mind that brandishing or using any weapon escalates a conflict, so weigh that decision carefully. If you do go that route, consistent practice at a safe shooting range is vital, along with securing ammunition in locked containers away from children. Fitness also matters in self-defense. Being able to jog a few blocks or move quickly with a heavy pack can be a lifesaver in certain scenarios, whether you're fleeing unrest or just hauling supplies. Regularly do basic workouts at home. Squats, push-ups, and short runs can boost endurance and strength without needing expensive gear. If you have time, learn verbal de-escalation skills too. A calm approach with the right words can sometimes diffuse a confrontation before it explodes, especially in tense situations where misunderstandings or fear are running high. Remember, your best defense is avoiding trouble in the first place. But having a plan to protect yourself if avoidance fails can offer real peace of mind. We've covered a lot of ground in this guide, from the looming possibility of martial law, civil war, mass deportations, or drone patrols, to what a second pandemic outbreak could look like if tensions are high. It might seem overwhelming at first, but the ultimate goal here is to empower you. By having a plan, whether it's for fortifying your home, stocking up on supplies, or relocating at the first sign of trouble, you can reduce your vulnerability and take charge of your safety. It doesn't require you to become a hardcore doomsday prepper. Even incremental steps like storing extra food and water, reinforcing your doors, or having a basic communication backup can drastically improve your resilience. And it's not just about you. Being prepared also enables you to help friends, neighbors, or family members who might be caught off guard. In a real crisis, communities that band together stand a much better chance of getting through than individuals who go it alone. I appreciate you sticking around to the end. If you found this helpful, please subscribe, share it with someone else who might benefit, and be sure to check out the tagged products listed in this video. Those items are a great way to kickstart your journey or refine the preparedness measures you've already taken. This isn't about living in fear. It's about stepping into uncertain times with confidence, clarity, and compassion for those around you. Stay safe, stay informed, and I'll catch you next time.